like to run, I don't like to run. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is me, Alicia. If this is your first time here, and if not, welcome back. Alright, so guys, we are back. New year, new hairstyle, new shooting location, right? So I figured today would be a really good day to just sit and talk about something that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is their failures. So this video is going to have some of my 2023 successes, some of my 2023 failures, and then how I'm going to make 2024, what do the girls call it, my Zoom year. Is that the word that the girls are using now? Alright, before we get started, we're going to set the mood. Go ahead, guys. This isn't like you guys watch me. Get your planners out, get your notebooks. We're going to be doing this together. So I was going to pour myself a glass of wine, but I have to leave in 2 hours to go get my son. So in the meantime, we're going to have a poppy. We're going to have a, what is this, a prebiotic, because if we're going to get our little calories, we're going to make sure that it's healthy for us. My favorite flavor has been the raspberry rosé. Or raspberry rose. I say rosé. Makes me feel special. There is one more. I can't remember it off the top. I just know that it's in a green bottle. I don't know which one it is, but I'll link it in the description box below. And then I have my little clear straw. If I felt like it, I would go put this in a wine bottle. I'm in a wine glass. I'm not there yet. So we've got our drink. I don't know how long I'm going to be out here, so I'm going to light a little candle. I've got, this is the strawberry pound cake. This is probably one of my favorite flavors, or like a fruity flavor from Bath and Body Works. I love the brown blueberry sugar something, vanilla bean Noel. That's bae, because y'all know how I feel about vanilla. And then Paris Cafe, that's her bae. Okay, it's a thing. So I'm going to light my candle. I've got my drink. I've got my glasses because I am going to be looking at my iPad. I've got these from Warby Parker. I do have blue light, guys. If you are just, they ain't got nothing to do with the video. This is just in general. If you are just someone who sees and it has to be with a lot of screen time, whether that is you work at your job that requires looking at a computer, or you're a nurse and you're always looking at your screens, whether that be the computer or the iPad, or you're watching a lot of TV, or you're on your phone. If you are around something that has a lot of screens, please get you some blue light glasses. I have blue light in mine. They're not prescription because I got LASIK, it seems like a decade ago, but I always make sure that I like to have blue light glasses. I did just grab a pair from Zlul because I thought they were all created equal. My optometrist said, sis, that's not the case. Okay, get you some blue light that actually, and she listed the blue light percentage. I don't know. I asked her to give me a couple of brands. One of the first ones she listed was Warby Parker, and so I used some HSA credit to get some. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm actually going to put my glasses up here because I am about to look at my notepad. So I have all my goals on my iPad and Canva, and I'll show you that. But I like to also write all of my goals down. I'm also pretty ambitious when it comes to goals. I like to have goals because I feel like, for me, some people get intimidated by their goals. Some people are like, I get intimidated, I'm not going to have goals, I'm just going to go as the wind blows. And that's fine. It just depends on what works for you. For me, having goals inspires, motivates me to be able to get out of bed and at the end of the day create a to-do list. I work harder when I know that there's a goal set to accomplish. So that's why I personally have quite a lot of goals. So last year I actually had 25 goals. Of the 25 goals, I accomplished 16. I did not accomplish 9. And so we'll highlight probably like 4 or 5 goals that I accomplished, why I feel I accomplished them, and then we're going to do the same things for the ones that I did not accomplish, why I didn't, and then we'll talk about why maybe I'm bringing them into the new year, or why I'm choosing not to bring them into the new year. So, okay, a success personally, and I listed them all individually, but overall it was to grow all of my social media platforms. So it was to get 110,000 on YouTube, accomplish that. 200,000 on Instagram, accomplish that. 50,000 on TikTok, accomplish that. And so I think the reason why that worked for me was because this year I was really intentional with being consistent on all of those platforms. For instance, on Instagram was one of those where that's always been my most successful platform, but I didn't want to remain complacent. So I used the analytics that Instagram showed me. I checked and saw what reels you guys were interested in, which ones you were like, and then I made it a pact to at least post 5 days a week on Instagram. That took a lot. It took a lot of me having to batch content, and when I mean batch content, I mean picking a day, getting all makeuped up, all dolled up, and then going upstairs in my closet or just staying down here in our closet and shooting a lot of videos back to back to back to back. So that's what I mean by batch, so that if there are some days I can't shoot content, I always have backups. And you guys have heard me talk about that before. So I did a lot of batch shooting for Instagram to kind of level up my Instagram. And I was really consistent on YouTube. You guys know this was the first year, 2023, where I said I was going to post a vlog every single week. It was hard, and I think the only week I didn't post was like the last week in December when I had taken off. I was like, I'm on vacation, leave me alone. But it was challenging. But then after I got used to it, I realized, oh, it's really just putting a camera in front of my face and just living my normal life. And so as time progressed throughout the year, I got extremely comfortable. The vlogs got better. The vlogs got easier. I got less stressed out. So it's definitely something that I'm going to take into 2024, is to just be consistent. Now, on TikTok, I can't take credit for that. I can't take credit for my growth on TikTok, because in all actuality, I was not as consistent as I wanted to be. I said I wanted to post 3 times a week. I did not post 3 times a week. But what I will say is the videos that I did post, a lot of them went viral, and a lot of that turned into followers. So when I first started the year, I had about 2,200 followers. At the end of the year, I had 57,000. I didn't have that many videos as some of my other people that have 57,000 followers. So it was really one of those where a lot of my outfit reels went viral. So I can take credit for Instagram and YouTube. Sis was consistent. Sis was batch shooting. I was making sure I was posting on time. If I wasn't posting on my actual feed on Instagram, I was posting on my stories. But for TikTok, I can't take the credit for that. That's favor. It's favor and just randomly going viral. Okay, so let's talk about a failure. A failure that I had put on my list that I wanted to have at least 4 travel collaborations. And one of the ways that I said I was going to do that was that when we went out of town, even if it was just something small, I was going to do a better job of trying to highlight and take organic content in and around the hotel or some local places. That way, whether a hotel sees me or like a tourism board of the city sees it, it's easier for my manager to take that good content and be able to pitch it to a hotel or like a city or something like that. I didn't do a good job of that. I did not do a good job of posting organic travel content. So the 4 travel collaborations, I only got 1, and that for me was one of the biggest failures that I think that I had, because I really want to eventually get into the space where, you guys know me and William travel all the time, and now that Alexander is here, we're traveling with him. And so I really want to get into a space not where I transition out of fashion, but where I can have fashion and travel meet. So I don't see there to be any reason why my feed can't have a fashion video one time and then a hotel tour or something that incorporates my traveling in the next one. So that's one where I'm definitely going to take it into 2024, but I need to, and we'll talk about what I'm going to do to it. So I'm definitely going to take it into 2024. I'm probably not going to have 4. I'm probably going to say I want to do at least 3. But it was one of those where, because I did not create organic travel content, it was really hard for travel related companies to see my content and be like, okay, we think your audience can relate to what we're doing because we see you doing this, 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 and this, and this is the engagement that it has. It's very hard to take, you can't really take any ammunition to said person if you don't have any ammunition. And I didn't really have a lot. I got quite a bit towards the end of the year with the Maldives and Vegas, which is why I was able to get a collab later in the year for travel. But I really wish I would have been better doing organic content, and that's something that me and William are trying to like flesh out and say, hey, when we travel, whether it be for business or personal, I really want to focus on doing this and doing this. So we have a game plan, but that's one of those where I am going to take it in 2024, and we'll talk about the process that I'm going to do to try to land collaborations for travel in a bit. All right, next up, one of my successes that I was very excited about. I was really excited about this one because it was one that I was adamant about making sure that I did. And one of my goals for 2023 was to have some form of a self-care session once per month. And I think this was very important to me. One, as someone who is extremely busy, like you guys know, okay, I don't think I have to say it, but with all of the hats that I wear, and then on top of that, I became a mother in 2022. This year I really wanted to make sure that while I was pouring into everybody, that I was also pouring into myself. And it was something that I really valued. It was something I was like, listen, if I gotta say no to something, to somebody's party, to somebody's gathering, to somebody's phone call, to make sure that I got in some time for myself, I was absolutely going to do it. Because for some reason, and I don't know why, and maybe it's just the way that, I don't know, I have no idea, but for some reason a lot of my friends come to me with their problems. I feel like I have just like therapists on my forehead, and I don't know if it's because maybe I'm the one who's been seeing a therapist the longest, so I can give pretty good advice, or because I'm a Sagittarius, I can give very unbiased advice. So if they're wrong, I can let you know, hey sis, I love you to death, but you're wrong. So they like that I am blunt and honest with them. I don't know, but I get a lot of people coming to me with their problems, and that's fine. I feel like I am in a space right now where I can handle it. I can be very emotionally detached from their situation to be able to give them advice and not take what they're going through home with me. It's something that I learned in therapy, okay? Learn it, go to therapy. But because of that, I feel like I needed to pour into me. Like, I'm pouring into a lot of people. I need time to pour into me. And so every single month, whether that was a massage, whether that was a facial, whether that was buying a little something for myself, whether that was as simple as going to the nail salon and instead of getting a standard pedicure, give me the hot stone. Okay, give me the hot stone, give me the candle oil, give me the wax, give me the sugar. Just taking a little extra time where that normal 30-minute pedicure has turned into 1 hour, and I can just, I mean, feet are just wrinkled from being in the water that long. I made time for myself. And what I did do is after each self-care session, I came home and I journaled about what I did, why I did it, and how I felt. And it really helped pour back into me. And I definitely think it's essential, whether you're a mom, wife, friend, or whatever, that you need to pour back into you. And then you need to write why you feel that way. Because sometimes we have guilt. We have mom guilt. We have wife guilt. Oh, I should be doing this in the house. I should be doing that. Pour into you. You can't pour into anybody else if you are not full. So that's one of those that, as I'm looking back on the 12 different pages that I wrote, and it's just a notebook, guys. There's nothing fancy. It's just a notebook that I got from Target online, and that's what I use. And so I will bring that into the new year, and I'll just keep using that self-care book for each and every time. I have this, I'm doing the same goal, same thing, one self-care session a month. I definitely think it's important to pour into you, and then I definitely think it's important for you to write out why you feel it's important to pour into yourself, or how you felt, or how relaxing it felt, and just, it was the best. So that was definitely one of my favorite. That was probably one of my favorite successes. So on that note, one of my failures, and I have it listed as a failure because I have a quantity beside it, but I feel like after I tell you guys which one it is, especially if you've watched the vlog, you'll be like, no sis, that's a success. But my other goal along the lines of self-care was I wanted to take 2 solo trips last year. I took one. And if you have not watched the solo travel vlog, I will link them up here in the cards. You have got to watch both of them. Yeah, I took one. Now, that one ended up being absolutely amazing. But to get there, to get to the amazing part, I had to go through quite a bit to get there. And I don't know, every time when I felt like there was time for me to be able to take another one, something always came up, something always happened. Alexander got sick, William had to go out of town, I got swamped with work, and I just wasn't able to take a second one. So I'm gonna put that as a failure. I'm gonna put that as a failure because Alicia, you said 2, and it was like 1 for the first half of the year, 1 for the second half, and I took my first half and I just did not take the second half of the year. So I am putting that as a failure. And I am also going to put that on my list for 2024. All right, these next 2 successes should be quick, and then we'll go to our failures because I feel like this video is getting pretty long, and you know, I don't want y'all candle to burn out while I'm still talking. Sorry. Ooh, water break. Next success was I had a book goal. I was supposed to read 24 books. I read 26. Part of me was a little nervous. I was like, oof, it's not happening. And then we read Moth to a Flame, and then we read the Ethic. No, and then we read Moth to Flame for book club, and then I found the Ethics series, and that single-handedly saved my book club, my book goal, because I read all 6 books plus Christmas at the Okafers before the end of the new year. And it's, I single-handedly, okay, credit that to Miss Ashley Antoinette for helping me get through the little rough patch that I had with my books. So that was definitely a success. We'll get to our last success, and then we'll hit a couple of failures. One of my other successes I was proud about was for me and William to do weekly date night. And I can't take all of the credit for that because there were a lot of weeks when William could clearly tell that I was busy, that he was like, all right, we're not doing anything. I need you to be ready by 5 o'clock. Or I need you to put him down and come downstairs to the man cave. And so for me, what I was surprised of for that was that I don't know, I guess I didn't realize that you can have date night at the house with the kid upstairs. And William really opened my eyes to it. Doesn't matter whether we're out at a restaurant, whether we're at a 5-star resort, or whether we're just downstairs in his man cave and he has this little like cot sleeping situation set up, and we can just pop popcorn and I can use all the seasoning that I want. We can just like catch up on movies or shows, and that's clearly a date night. So I thank him for redefining what date night looks for me, but we were adamant, okay? I love my child to death, okay? I love him to death. But mom and daddy gonna get mommy and daddy time. And I love that we were able to consistently keep a weekly date night. I also have to give credit to my family, who has been the #1 support system. I mean, my God, it's a blessing for me to be 15 minutes away from most of my immediate family, my 2 sisters and my mother. It's just been a blessing. So whenever it was a random trip or whenever it was a random date night, like there wasn't a single time when I asked them if they could keep Alexander that no one could keep them. And so I credit my family and William for helping us, honestly, because that was a couple's goal that we decided together. Do and keep a weekly date night. All right, a couple of failures we're gonna highlight. Let's see. I was supposed to run 4 5K races. I don't even know why the hell I put that on my goal. I did a lot. So one of my goals was to run 365 miles. I did that. One of my goals was to work out 250 times. I did that. Why did I feel like I needed that extra oomph to do like run 5K races? I don't know. I guess I figured I was going to be a runner. Like I was going to be a running girl. I was going to have the running. I was going to do marathons. I don't like to run. I don't like to run. Why would I put that on my list? Y'all want to know how many 5Ks I did? None. Now, if we're talking about like walking or like jogging through the park, like I ran 3 and 4 miles. Not ran. Y'all don't think. Like walked, jog, ran 3 or 4 miles randomly when I've been working out. But to like, I know what I did here when I says run 5K, it was to sign up for a 5K and run that 5K. I didn't do a single one, and that ain't coming on the list with me next year. It's not. I'm not a runner. I don't like to run in a marathon. I get careless about a medal. So I think I was just being very ambitious. I think it was at the time when I was making a plan to get rid of all of this pregnancy weight that I was like, I'm gonna run and I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna run this race and I'm gonna be in this marathon. Why? That's not my ministry. Why would I do that? So that's one of those failures. I don't feel bad. I mean, I kinda, but I don't feel bad at all. And then I think another one was, let's see, I'm trying to pick a good one. But I was like, oh man, I wish I would have did that. I would say take more pictures and videos. Hear me out. I know I'm an influencer and a vlogger, so there's a lot of pictures and videos. What I mean by that was, when I wrote it, is I wanted to take more pictures and videos that was just for me. So a lot of just like random moments of me with Alexander, or me with William, or just like random family moments that social media didn't see, that videos that I took that didn't make it to the vlog, just being more, having more candids. And I didn't do that. As I'm looking through my camera roll and I'm downloading, normally at the end of the year I will literally grab my camera roll from the year, get this big hard drive, and I'll sort everything out. So I'll try to have family, and I'll try to have Alexander, and I'll try to have travel. And as I'm looking at them, I realized that a lot of the pictures and videos that I took, while I did take a lot, it's not as many as I wanted to take, and quite a few of them ended up on social media. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I really want there to be this space in my life that is just for me, that is just for me to go back and look at, that when I am 60 and 65 and Alexander is grown up and he's off married and now I'm crying because he's not around, that I can go back and look at these special moments and it's just between us two. So I am going to bring that more into the year, and we'll talk about how I'm going to do that. But that was a failure that I was like, man, I wish I would have looked at this goals more often, or I wish I would have, like, I don't know, been more present about that goal to really take more personal pictures and videos, if that makes sense. Okay, so now that we have gone through some of our successes and failures, we're going to talk about how I'm going to make 2024 my best year. So let me pull out my glasses. I have started with my 2024 goals. I've told YouTube, Instagram, I don't know if I'm done. What I've done this year, and I'll link it below, and I'll even put it up here, the template, is I have broken my goals down into topics, and I think that was a little bit why some of my failures, I didn't see them immediately, because it was all lumped into this one long page that had all of the goals, and I wasn't able to see what was what. So I have mine broken out into 6 categories. So I have health, influencer, small business, personal, financial, and other. And the other is kind of like a hodgepodge of things. And so I feel like, one, being able to have this vision board immediately helps me to break out and see which goals I have. Like, okay, I don't have a lot of personal goals, I have a lot of financial goals, so let me make sure that I'm looking at these goals every single month to make sure that I am on track. So first things first is I am starting out my goals into categories that I can physically see. That's one thing that I have changed into 2024 that has immediately helped me, and we're not even 5 days into the new year. Second thing that I have done, and you guys would see it, is I went on to Canva. I love Canva. Like, if you haven't been using Canva is that girl. Is I immediately went into Canva and I created a mood board, and I'll pop it up here for those that are interested, and I'll also try to link the template. The vision board template, I went ahead, because I created that, so really quickly I went ahead and created a template, and I'll link it on my I have like a little Etsy page. It has a bunch of other templates. I'll link it there. It has 3 different pages, and you can always edit that in Canva. But then the second thing that I did is I did create this mood board, and it's kind of taking those big goals from each category, putting them into picture form, and this is what is saved on my phone. So my lock screen, I normally change it every month depending on the year, I normally change it every month. I'll go to theeverygirl.com, grab the calendar. I am not doing that this year. This is going to be my lock screen for the entire year, so that when I look at it, like for you, it may not mean much to you, because it's not, your goals aren't my goals. But when I look at this, there's not a single picture that I can't see and know that it doesn't relate to a certain goal. So like, I can look at this breathe and immediately know that that's going to be my self-care, that's going to be my being more present in the moment. So I know that these pictures correlate to goals that I have for myself. It may not seem like a lot, but having that visual representation of your goals that's in your face absolutely every day, because you're on your phone every day, it means a lot. It helps a lot, especially for me, because I'm a very visual person. So those are two things that I immediately did. Immediately. So one of the other things that I am going to start doing this year is instead of saying, okay, like I'll put up a goal here, it says, I have a goal that says walk 365 miles. That had it last year. I have it this year. It was a struggle for me last year because I was like, I gotta do my miles a day. I gotta do my miles a day. I gotta do my miles a day. And what I've started doing, and I cannot remember the book. I cannot, and it may have been an article. I gotta stop just blind reading. But it was, instead of having goals each month, start implementing habits, and start implementing routines, and once that routine becomes a habit, create another routine. This is what, for example, I want to walk 365 miles this year. Instead of saying, oh gosh, okay, so I have to do 31 miles this month because it's in January. My routine is I want to move my body for 30 minutes a day. Every single day, I want to move my body for 30 minutes a day. And that's it. I'm moving my body, whether I'm going to the gym, whether that's getting on my treadmill, every single day I am creating a routine of moving my body. So much so that after a while, it will become a habit. My body will naturally want to be moved for 30 minutes a day. And without me even trying, I am walking my 365 miles a year because that routine has now become a habit. And now that habit is helping me fulfill my goal. That's what I mean by making routines habits. I can't remember. I want to say it was an article. Like I said, I gotta stop. So that's another thing, is I am starting routines in hopes that they create habits. Y'all, I know y'all can't smell it. When I tell y'all, this candle smells so good. I wish that you could smell what's going on. It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's get back to business. So we've said we're going to do 3 things. 1, we have created a vision board. We have broken those goals out by category so we can see which category we probably need to give a little bit more love to and which category we don't. We have created a mood board. We have taken those goals. We have created pictures based on those goals. And what you could do, so what I did to find my pictures is like, I have on here the amount of money that I wanted to save. I literally went to Pinterest and did saving aesthetic, and it gave all these different type of savings things. I picked a picture that I thought related most to my goal, and I popped that in Canva. So that's what I mean by like pictures equating to your goals, and that's sitting on my phone that I can touch every single day. Third thing that I've done is I have started to create routines in hopes that those routines become habits, and those habits help accomplish my goals, which is what I said by, for instance, I gave the example of running the miles. There are some moments where sometimes a routine isn't going to work, and you have to break those down by either monthly, weekly, whatever goals. So for me, say for example, I have a certain amount of money that I want to save this year. I'm not going to say the amount, so I'm going to come up with a random amount. Let's just say I want to save $12,000 this year. $12,000 sounds like a lot of money. My gosh, I look at that goal and I'm like, all right, let's just close this up because I don't want to read that. But if you break that down, you're like, okay, $12,000, that's only $1,000 a month. So I put, if I'm creating my monthly goals, I'm like, save $1,000. Now, from that, you can create smaller goals. I'm going to have 2 no-spend days a year, or I'm going to limit my DoorDash to once per week, which I also have on my goal because we DoorDash entirely too much. So you can take that, I want to save $1,000, and then create smaller routines to help you save that $12,000. But you have got to take your bigger goals and break them down, because if you don't, you will get intimidated by them. And I think a lot of my failures, I was intimidated by them. I saw them, I didn't bother to break them down, and so I just closed the book. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm not working on that this month. Yeah, I ain't working on that. That's a lot. I'm not doing that. I didn't break that down. For instance, where I said the 4 travel collaborations, and in my head, like, okay, I need to create more travel content. But what does that look like for me on a monthly basis? What does that look like for me when we go, even if it's as simple as going to a little staycation that me and William like to do, or we'll just pop on over to Atlanta or Nashville? I could have taken the time to create travel content then, but I was so focused on it had to be this big hotel, this big trip, this out of the country trip that no one's gonna care if I'm in Nashville. No, they care. They care. And I found myself trying to focus on more doing like a travel vlog than not really taking Instagrammable content, because I was so focused on YouTube and not Instagram. I didn't create habits, or I didn't create smaller goals to be able to land a travel collaboration. It was on here, it said 4 travel collabs. I knew that I had to do the work, but I didn't know what that work looked like on a monthly basis. When if I would have broken it down and be like, okay, for the month of July, me and William are going to Florida twice. We got to pop into Nashville. That was 3 separate occasions for me to create travel content around the hotels, around what we were doing, the places that we were visiting, the foods that we were visiting. I didn't bother to do that each and every month, and because of that, my goal was not hit. So that's one of those where you've got to break it down, because if you don't, you will look at your big goal and you will get intimidated. So that's another thing that I have started doing. So for example, I want to grow Living Fearless collection. I realized that we had a revenue goal. While we hit it, we barely hit it. And when I look at the other years, last year was the least successful for us since we've been doing business. Now, some people look at the numbers and be like, girl, you're fine, but those are your numbers, these are mine. So this was the least successful year. And when I look back at it, I wasn't consistent. I wasn't consistent creating content for the Living Fearless collection. I wasn't consistent sending out weekly newsletters. I wasn't consistent having flash sales to send to subscribers. I just wasn't consistent. So now what I've done is, not just on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, I sit down and I say, what does my schedule look like this week? Can I pick Tuesday to shoot everything and do everything for the Living Fearless collection? Go ahead and set up the Instagram for the next week. Go ahead and see what my inventory looks like. If I need to place any orders, whether that's with my jewelry vendors or with my FEDORA vendors, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and see, is there an opportunity to have like a flash sale? Go ahead and set up my newsletters. Go ahead and schedule the newsletters that those can go ahead and go out. I have decided that I am going to bring in a virtual assistant to help me do some of this stuff, because a lot of it is doing on a computer, and if I can do it on a computer, they can do it on a computer. I'm also going ahead and establishing an online assistant, because I eventually want to set up influencer marketing for the Living Fearless collection. I want to do collaborations, I want to do campaigns, I want to do some user generated content. So that's plans that we have later in the year. In order for me to do that, I've got to fix the basics and make sure that they run smoothly before I start doing any advanced add-ons. So that's one of those where a monthly goal is great, but then what does that look like weekly? So sometimes your yearly goals, they can be breaking into semi-monthly, monthly, but then sometimes you got to get down to it and be like, what does this look like for me weekly? What do I need to do weekly in order for the monthly goal to happen, in order for the annual goal to happen? And when you break it down into smaller details, it gets much easier to accomplish. So that is number 4. And I think the 5th thing that I'm going to do, and I said I was going to try to do a YouTube video, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't think I'm going to be able to. And that is to have a monthly recap. And the reason why I say I don't think I'm going to be able to do that on YouTube is because there's quite a few goals that I'm choosing to keep personal, whether that's goals that me and William have together, or if that's just personal goals that I have for myself. Of course, I can get on here, and I told you guys that I had 25 goals. I think maybe you heard 7 or 8 of them. So like I said, there's quite a few goals that I choose to keep close to the chest, and so I don't really know how I can have a recap video if you guys aren't there to recap all of the goals. So, but I did go ahead, I went ahead and put in myself a calendar alert. It's the last Monday of every single month. I went ahead and did Mondays, because Mondays are my admin days where I check in. Okay, what goal, what does a month look like for us? We said we were going to daily journal. How many days did we actually journal? I have a habit tracker that I downloaded. It'll be somewhere in the description, child. a habit tracker where I'm gonna write out daily journal and then check it off, or I can always just check my journal. I mean, let's just be honest. But it's where I'm gonna check in with myself. I'm gonna check in and see, what did you accomplish? What monthly goals did you have for the year? For the month, did you accomplish them? If not, by what deficit? Because then we need to add that deficit on. So let's just say, for instance, the goal was to save $1,000 a month. Well, for the month of January, I only did $700 a month. Okay, that means for the month of February, we now have to do $1,300. So you see what I'm saying, where if I was a deficit in one, then I need to make up for that the next month. Or if I said I was going to save $1,000 in January, I saved $1,200. Great. For February, you only have to save $800. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. So when it's one of those where you're tracking something monthly, that's normally the way that I do it. So it's to check in with myself. We're gonna have a check-in the same way that I have a reset at my house every single month, where I switch out plug-ins and toothbrushes and body scrubs and all that kind of stuff. I'm also going to do a monthly check-in with myself, and I think that that will really help. So I'm excited for 2024. I really am. I'm so excited. I feel like last year, even though last year was great, I feel like it was a lot of transformation for me, and I think you guys can see it. It was my first full year of being a mom, so I had to navigate what motherhood looked like in my life. I was also trying to lose all of the baby weight, so now I'm navigating going to the gym and getting a trainer and meeting with a nutritionist, and that took a lot out of me. It was the first year that I had management that I trusted, like influencer related. So it was a breath of fresh air, being able to have meetings that I left the meeting feeling great. It was just very transformative for me. It was a lot. And so I think now that I have my bearings, this year's gonna be great. I'm claiming it. I'm putting it out there in the atmosphere and putting it up there for God to grab. It's going to be a great year. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will link anything that I possibly can. If you have made it this far and you have not subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. Also click the notification bell so you don't miss any videos from me. Like I said, I'll link any and all templates that I mentioned, showed, all that kind of things. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna see you guys Thursday, 7 o'clock. Later.